Oh, we got to do it. We got to start looking at some MVP situations. We're about a quarter of the way through this bad boy. Things are already heating up. I don't care. It's not too early. So, Chandler, you're going to give us your top 5 MVP candidates. Go.
Okay, let's do it. Starting off at number 5, I got Donovan Mitchell. I think when your team is 21-3, you have to reward that. And again, the voting is kind of different every year. Are we rewarding team success? Are we rewarding individual? I think it's got to be a balance of everything. It's got to be situation, individual stats. Donovan Mitchell has been unbelievable. He is a huge reason why this team is where they are at 19-3. At the end of the day, though, he's only averaging 24, 5, and 4. Like Miami, Tyler Hero is averaging that on Miami. So if his team continues to win, I can see him staying here or rising. If they don't, I can see him unfortunately falling out because he'd have to average 30-plus points to really be in the hunt to win MVP.
Fun odds, though.
Hell of a season so far. Yeah. Number 4, I got Giannis. And listen, you can't deny what Giannis is doing here. The numbers do not lie. He is leading the NBA in scoring. He has taken his team pretty much single-handedly to trade rumors, to firing a coach, to kind of back now and relevance. He's averaging more rebounds than Anthony Davis and more points than SGA. He's still a dominant defender. He does it all. Giannis's numbers leading the league in scoring, like I said, he's going to be there pretty much every year at number 4. Number 3, I went SGA. I think he is a combination of everything you're looking for. He is the the best player on one of the best teams. His numbers are great. He plays all the time. He is that great balance of kind of doing everything for this team, leading this team to, they're going to be at the top of the Western Conference come the end of the season. Number 2, this one's tough because I think you have to reward winning, and Jokic and the Nuggets have kind of taken a step back in that sense. They're 11-10, but his numbers are unbelievable. It's arguably his best individual season, but the team is 11-10, and I understand he's running away with it. He's probably the favorite on most people's, but to me, you have to impact winning. You have to do that every single night, and their team is just missing something. But on the flip side, like we said earlier in the show, they're the number 1 offense with him, the number 30 offense without him. So when you look at the impact of a player has, he's the most impactful player. You take him off, the Nuggets suck. You take Donovan Mitchell off, I think the Cavs still win games.
Okay. We've seen him struggle.
And that kind of goes against my number 1 argument. But to me, Jayson Tatum, he's the best player on the best team, and I think that holds value. He's played every single game except one game Thursday. I think guys just naturally try and dock him because the Celtics are so good, and his numbers aren't going to be gaudy like these other numbers. But he's consistent, he defends, and he wins games. And everybody fears this team, and he's a main reason why. So I think when I look at the MVP, it's the best player on the best team, and that's Jayson Tatum.
Second best team, but yeah.
Good list. Mine is similar, but a little different. I'll keep it not brief, but a little bit briefer. Chandler. Number 5 for me, I did like you guys' Giannis pick, but I went with Luka. And for me, because they are a better team, a better record, top 4 team, top 5 team in the West. He's been out a little bit lately, but he's back now, and he's still a triple-double machine. He came back having a 30-point triple-double on their last win. Number 4 for me is Jayson Tatum. I know he should be higher,
all right,
but to me, they should be the number 1 team in the East with how good they are, and they're not. Cleveland is. He's the best team on the best team, per se, but they don't have the best record, so that's why he's at number 4 for me. Number 3, the best team in the league, or the best record in the league, Cleveland Cavaliers, Donovan Mitchell. Best player on the team with the best record. It said obviously his numbers aren't that gaudy, aren't that great, but because they're doing so well and they're at a start that nobody expected them to be at, you got to put him in this conversation. He's leading that young group, not only with his numbers, but just by his energy and what he's talking in the locker room and getting them to mature. And for number 2 for me is Shai, SGA, them being the top team in the West without Chet being hurt for the last 6 to 8 weeks or so, and even Isaiah coming in and out, Isaiah Hartenstein, and them still, staying afloat and being one of those teams, him averaging 30, what he does, about 29.8, which is 30. He should have been, I thought he should have got more votes last year and could have been MVP last year. This year, he's in the top 2 for me. Number 1, Nikola Jokic, you gave the argument for me. Them being 30th when he's off the floor and number 1 when he's on the floor, I don't care who they lose to. 56, 16, and 8. He's doing whatever, all he can to help that team win. And they're still above 500. Obviously it's 11-10. It's not great, but they are above 500, which I said, you looked at Giannis, you guys had Giannis on your list. they are, but they're still below Dallas to me. That's why I had Luka on there. They were barely above 500.
By the way, you can make an argument for all. These individual seasons are all outrageous.
Yeah.
Lou?
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm gonna stay firm, and I'm gonna reward winning, right? So at number 5, I'm gonna go Giannis at number 5. I just feel like he was late to the party. You know, getting going. At one point, this team was 2-8. Granted, they've turned it around, and a lot of that is based on his play, but just late to the party for me. Not enough consistency. Number 4, I'm gonna go Nikola Jokic. This is unpopular. He's out of my top. He's out of my top 3 because they're barely 500, and he was the MVP last year. How has he winning? He's done everything he can possibly do. But again, sometimes we toe that line between winning and stat and your impact. Super impactful, one of the best players in the league, if not the best player, but it hadn't showed in their record. So for that, he's number 4 for me personally. Number 3, give me Donovan Mitchell. He's the reason this thing has turned around. You know, you give a lot of credit to Kenny Atkinson, but at the end of the day, somebody got to go out there and they got to execute your plan. They got to execute your game planning. And Donovan Mitchell has been able to do that. He's been ahead of the snake in the Cleveland Cavaliers and their success. So he lands at number 3 for me. Number 2 is going to be Jayson Tatum. Won the NBA championship last year, and for a guy that's always overlooked or always doubted, every time he accomplishes something, there's always an asterisk next to it or somebody trying to take something off of the top of the things that he can accomplish. Boston is still one of the scarier teams. Granted, the Cleveland Cavaliers are number 1 in the East, but can they sustain that? Boston is going to be that team that's going to challenge them, and that's going to be on the back of Jayson Tatum. And number 1 for my MVP pick, give me Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
There it is.
I'm staying down with my guy. He was the runner-up last year in MVP voting. And as a result, they got better this year. Now they're the number 1 seed. They're back in the number 1 seed where they were a lot of last year. And then some of these veteran teams caught up with them and they landed at 2 or 3. I can't remember. But this team is right back where they are. And think about the adversity they've seen. You know, Chet Holmgren going out, Hardenstein being in the lineup. They had some different adversities and they still are coming out on top. And they're still the best number 1 team in the Western Conference. So with that, my MVP pick is going to be my young fella, SGA.
You're going to get it right, Lou.
One of us will be right. It's going to be one of those 3.
One of us will get it right.